I'm Jeff.
And I'm Joe.
This is Truth Be Told.
Hey, everybody. To start off the show, I'd like to mention a few people, let them know that we're thinking about them and we have them in our prayers. And a couple people here that we like to mention is Chris, who just recently lost his wife.
Yeah.
Pretty tough situation for him right now. Scott Ogle lost his little girl. I can relate to the loss of a child.
Yes.
No words. Mike Young.
We were just at his brother's funeral today.
Yeah.
And also Chris, his wife passed away today. So
Yeah.
that was...
Yeah, I was getting that call during the service. I couldn't believe what was happening.
Yeah.
And lastly is my sister, Rochelle, who lost her husband, Gary.
Yeah.
So you're all with us, and you're all driving us today.
We love you guys. Well, today when we were at the reception, right?
Yeah.
Joe mentioned to me that he had this encounter. And we kind of wanted to talk about it and see where we end up with this. But you want to go ahead and take it away?
Yeah. So funny, but at the same time, it's sort of a serious topic. I went grocery shopping, and the way I grocery shop is I hate it. I hate grocery shopping to the point where I do my best to avoid it at all costs. But when I do it big, so I just kind of get it out of the way. And I had
it like a heaping cart?
If I have one of the kids there with me, then it's 2 carts. But me this time it was stacked. And I'm barely able to push it, but here I am. I'm pretty aware of my surroundings. I either try to go late at night or in the middle of the day when not too many people are present, because I just don't want to inconvenience anybody. And here I'm watching my surroundings because it's not that many people in there.
Right.
And 1 or 2 people go ahead. I let them go ahead of me. They only have 1 or 2 items, so let them go ahead. Nobody else around. I pull my cart in, and no sooner than I start unloading do I see people start building up behind me. So now I'm sweating, and I'm thinking, oh my God. And they open up another lane, but this lady who was right behind me, who was already getting like flustered, you could just tell she shouldn't have been shopping perhaps at that moment or whatever, but she's on her phone. They open up another lane, so she misses that they open up another lane. So now she's even more flustered. Well, as I'm unloading as fast as I can, I realize I forgot my wallet. So now I'm like thinking, oh my God, what do I do? And Uriana was at home. So I kind of step back. I start making my phone call, try to troubleshoot the situation so as to not convenience anybody anymore to make a decision whether or not I got to get out of line or what do I have to do. Find that she's within reason of getting to me. So I tell the checker, I said, hey, I forgot my wallet. She says, don't worry, we'll get through this and we'll suspend it.
Right.
The people behind you will actually be able to go faster, just a few minutes faster.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right. No sooner than we organize this, the lady behind me yells out, do you think, and I mean making a spectacle of me, just, do you think you can do something to help her out so that we can go faster? And I just felt myself boiling, and rather than say something equally silly, I just said thumbs up, and I said, we got this. Don't worry. But in here, I wanted to explode. I was on fire. It literally altered my day at that point.
Wow.
And, I keep thinking to myself, if she only knew what the circumstances were, she would have seen that with what I was doing was actually making the process go a little bit quicker, and I couldn't have done anything better. But I think that's kind of what we're hitting on this particular episode is what's missing in society today. What is missing?
Yeah, I think patience. I know that just so that it's clear, not everybody, not all of us exercise patience.
Me especially.
Sometimes, I mean, if you think about it, and I'll be honest with myself as well, sometimes, man, I'm like, man, hurry up,
Yeah.
But I always have a problem with somebody like starting something in line, like in front of everyone.
Right. Right.
And truth be told, we don't know what something could have been going on with her that she.
And I was so deep into it, I couldn't see that. And I think that's you're touching on the lesson. I think the moral of this is that just because you did everything to the best of your ability, maybe they're trying to the best of theirs, and it's just not working out the same way it wasn't for me.
So where are we at? It's like nowadays there's just a bunch of me, I. Instead of we, us. And I think if we had a we, us, because there's no I in team, right? I mean, we always say that, like, I used to say that to the kids when we were on the football team or the baseball team. And even when in our band, there's no I in band.
Right.
I don't think people approach life that way, though. It's all about them. And I think we're all guilty of that. So, I don't want to put it out there like I'm, not selfish once in a while. I mean, you could ask my wife. She'll tell you I'm selfish as hell.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think what we're missing is that, I think we need to return to the old days, to the old way of doing things, where there's courtesy, where you open a door for a woman, where you let the woman go first, or something or other, right? You're already in line. She came up behind you. That's a different scenario. But I think those types of things, the courtesy of us trying to help somebody that's in need,
Right.
would have been, she could have done that. She could have. And then, like you said, you were kind of deep into it. She already was like chopping on you. And you got to think about where you're at, though. You're at the store, you're in line, there's people behind you, and you don't have your wallet. So it's a scenario that people, I'm sure, who knows, that lady might have encountered that in her life.
Right.
Maybe 3 days before that, for all we know.
Now, had she seen not more than about 15 minutes prior, I'm by myself in one of the aisles, breaking down in tears because a wave was hitting me, a wave of grief. And I wasn't doing good at that moment, so it took me a minute to step out of that. And I was already, but in line with what you're saying is, how do I know that 15 minutes prior to that, she wasn't doing the same? So, yeah.
So I think you handled it well, though, because, you didn't flip out.
I was close.
You wanted to flip out. But I think that one thing, the courtesy of somebody just say, hey, is there something I can do to help you? Can I give you a hand or something. We talked about, how we were in line once. I was in line once, and there was a lady that, she didn't have enough money or something.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to brag and I don't want to lift myself up. I don't. But I just, I got that.
Yeah.
And then later on, when I was, hating it, someone came up from behind me and said, I got that. So it's sort of like it, like, I don't want to say it's karma, but,
Balanced itself out.
Yeah, I mean, it came back around. And I don't know, I'm an old school type of guy. I want us to treat each other with respect. I want us to treat, see if we can figure out how to help one another. Even a perfect stranger. A few years ago, I was at one of Manaya's cheer competitions. It was in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked up, I held the door open, and 5 people went in. And I turn around, and the first guy that I held the door for, he's there holding the door for me to come in.
Right. Nice.
And I thought, wow, if only this could happen like all the time with everyone, I think that life in general would be a lot better.
I agree. You just never know when you're going to find yourself in that position, and the rewarding feeling that you get, at least I get, by doing good. It makes it all worth it. And I can't even tell you how many times I've been in a position where I've needed help, and people just stepped up and they do it. I mean, just within this last year and a half, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think because of political views, we're in a pandemic.
It's easy to find discrepancies right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I think I could expect that. To be the case where, people are just uptight, But at the same time, man, I mean, what have we always done as a country when we got hit with something, We've come together, and I think when societies can do that, when we can come together with some type of cooperation,
Yeah.
we'd find ourselves, I think, in a better place. I really do. I really think that.
Outlets, maybe that's another show here. Maybe we need to write that down. What do we do for outlets to relieve some of this? Some people work out, some people music, and all of those things seem to be sort of boxed at the moment. So, what do you guys do? Maybe give us a shout out and what you do to control these outlets. What are these outlets for you?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and we look forward to reading the comments. And we'll be right back. We're going to take a break.
So, one of the things about today that really resonated with me is at the service for Mike's brother Tim. it was simple. And I think that's the intention. But the simplicity of it made it grand for me. You know,
I agree.
It was so warm and welcoming and just
Very much so.
perfect.
I had the honor of officiating Mike's brother's funeral, Tim's funeral today.
Which, by the way, you did just an amazing job. And it's like you found your calling. You know, you were doing what you do. It was very nice.
I appreciate that, man, and to God be the glory for sure. But you know, from that perspective, you're sort of in. You talk to everybody, and you have the vantage point of watching it, and it's just it was just great to hear everybody, like I said, you know, just simple speak, you know, just simple talk. And even after we went to the reception, man, I loved it because we went there and it was just good old-fashioned hamburgers, hot dogs, you know, chips, salad, you know, like little salads and stuff. And then we all sat together in a cozy area with no masks, by the way.
And, you know, there was people there that I haven't seen in forever, years and years and years. And that's when you know you're around some good people, because you pick right back up where you left off.
That's
just
true.
like that.
That's true. That's
Just
true.
like that.
That's true. And I mean, we just sat there and chopped it up for, it was like a couple of hours, I think we stayed there today, right?
Yeah.
And I enjoyed myself a lot. And it was just down to earth. And I think that's another thing that's missing from society. We're too busy trying to be up here when we just need to be right here.
Yeah, the emphasis
You know?
would have been taken away from the whole point of the day by trying to make this elaborate event or fancy or whatever. But it was just, it was perfect. You know, the right amount of emphasis was placed where it should be.
I couldn't have said it better myself. You know, it's one of those things that I think I'll remember it for, you know, because it's just recent today.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to forget it for a while. I enjoyed the hell out of myself.
And you know, I think soon I'm going to be doing the same thing with Chris and his service, and I expect that you know, in Chris, his situation's going to be a lot like this, and it's going to be heartfelt, and I think that's what I'm taking from these experiences, is that, you know, the emphasis placed in the right spots.
Yeah, it was a really great experience, and I'm hoping for Chris that, you know, it's I know it's tough to I mean, he just lost his wife today. I mean, during service, while we were there at the service, I mean, it's heartbreaking, you know.
Yeah.
But I know that, you know, I'm well acquainted with loss myself, and I can tell you that you can make it through. And I know it's tough and it's fresh right now, and it's going to be, you know, tough. But you know, I think he's going to be able to do it. I think it's going to be, and with you there to help him, you know.
Yeah, you know, thinking about what you're saying right now and circling back to how we started the show, it's kind of like you got to wonder just how much of today's anxieties and difficulties are related to death. I mean, I don't want to age us, but at the same time, we're seeing it more than we ever have, and
That's true.
it's only going to increase, you know. So
Well, you know, fortunately, we converse a lot, and we're able to confide in one another. There's some things I can say to him that I can't say to anybody else, and
vice versa.
one of the things that we had got into a conversation about was, are we contemplating the future? We contemplating what could befall us, or what could, you know, like we can get some type of, I don't know if you want to call it a reward, or, you know, something good will happen to you. You know, I mean, what do? Do we just not look at the future? Because I know that this whole COVID thing. I mean, I was trying to stay away from it, but it seems like it's like keeping people in place. You know, literally, they're like stuck in their houses for, you know. We're starting to open up now, but
it's the common denominator for so many things in our life. Every one of us today, it's the common denominator. So, you know, how does something like that not come up?
Right. Well, you know, maybe in the future we'll do a show on our feelings about everything, but I can understand how people have, and you spoke about anxiety. Mm-hmm. Are they planning for the future? Because it seems like everybody's just trying to make it through the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, man. I got plans.
Yeah. And it's time to start putting those plans into effect.
I mean, we told you the last show, we're getting ready to come out and, you know, honor those tickets. So we're not sitting around. I mean, I think that's one thing that's missing right today in society, right now in society, is that people aren't looking for the future. They're just trying to survive for the next 5 minutes, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Look to the future. Look ahead. You know, plan. Don't put your plans on hold. You know, if you want to have kids, man, plan to have those kids. If you want to go on a vacation, plan for that vacation. If you want to, you know, do what you need to do or whatever it is,
start planning it now.
Yeah. Don't let it. Yeah.
You don't have to wait. Plan it, make a goal, but put that into effect today.
Mm-hmm. And we're stuck. And in society today, we need to get unstuck.
Yes. And I think as a group, as a country, that's how we're going to do it, is by reaching our goals, starting with steps of today towards those all together. Can't wait for the other person to do it. No. Yeah, we're not watching anybody lead it.
Right.
We all do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of you guys know my wife, right? We're on a transplant list for her to get a double transplant.
Yeah.
You know what she told me? Honey, after I get the transplant, I want us to renew our vows. Honey, after I get the transplant, I want us to go on a vacation. Honey, after I get the you know, this is a lady that is, the possibilities are she gets a transplant, and if she does it, you know what follows.
Yeah.
She ain't waiting around though. She's told me straight up, I'm gonna get it, and when I get it, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I want to do this, I want to do, and man, I mean, she inspires the hell out of me. I think we need to do that. Society today is stuck worrying about things. You know, I told you guys I'm a Christian, right? I rely on God for everything. The money I have, the job I have, my friends, my family that I have, they come from God, period. And that's what I do. You know, also, God is missing from society today, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
When we took God out of schools, we've had a lot more problems than we ever had when he was in it.
I agree. There's no taking a knee here.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you one other thing. We used to say the Pledge of Allegiance every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's missing from society as well.
Agreed.
You know? What about parents taking control of their kids? Because sometimes, you know, don't get upset. Just listen to it and judge for yourself. But when we're driving down the street at night, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, and there's kids out, what are those kids doing out at night?
Right.
You know? And then all of a sudden the parent goes, what happened? We gotta, man, you know, I'm old school. We're not friends with our kids. We're their parents.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm opening up a can of worms, but geez Louise.
Yeah, you know what? Even if you were, it's a can that need to be open. You know, it's. I personally think from our generation that we're going to have a lot of people that relate.
Right, I agree.
You know, we're from the riding in the back of a pickup truck, drinking from the water hose generation, and this is normal conversation to these people. So unless you feel differently, we'd love to hear about that too.
Absolutely.
You know, just because we have a view on something doesn't mean you can't differ and bring it up and let's talk about it. You know.
Yeah, and the key word is talk. That's another thing that's missing today in society. There's no debate anymore. There's this whole thing about
butthurt.
Yeah, people get butthurt. You know, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm not friends with you no more, or I cancel you. You know, everyone knows the cancel culture is happening, right? Why aren't we talking anymore? We used to do that. You know, talk through everything. Talk it through. That's how it happens. That's how we get compromise. That's how we get things going. That's how we, come together. Like we were talking about with our last show with the group that we had was practicing with us and was going to be in the show with us, and all the people that we had, right? Scott and Johnny and Michelle and everybody.
Cheyenne,
yeah. I forget the gentleman's name that was going to play the violin and the cellos. Stefan. That would have been fun. It was a great practice.
Yeah.
It was a great practice.
He's still down, by the way.
But imagine if we were all in the same room and we're just staring at each other.
Which is fun, but
and then nobody says what we're gonna do. Put a plan in place. Like I'm just looking at Joe and he's looking at me, and Michelle's looking at Joe and I'm looking at Michelle, and Johnny's in the corner and Scott's going like this, and we have to talk. That's all there is to it. To put things in order, you got to talk.
And difference of opinion does not require insult to lead into debate. You can disagree. I hear this constantly. Well, if anybody agrees with you, Joe, you just tear them to pieces, and then it's either your way or the highway. No. You can disagree with me all you want, but do it with respect, and I'll respond the same way. I'll always respond the way I was approached. So,
Yeah. Well, I think it just goes hand in hand. We're sitting here, we're having a discussion, really, right? Just imagine if we had a show that's called Truth Be Told, and we just sat here. You know what I mean? This is the reason why we came here, because we want to, we're not beholden to anybody. We can do and say and talk about whatever we want to, and we want to do it in a way that, it encourages people, like we said, get debate going, start talking, and just real down to earth issues.
Right.
Like loss. I think there's a lot of people that will watch this that can identify with loss. And what did you do with it? How did you cope with it? What was helpful to you?
It seems there's little tips within grief that work for some people differently than others, and that fascinates me because I consult a lot of people who go through, as do you, who experience loss and grief, and it's interesting to me how differently people respond to it, and it's just a very, very complicated emotion.
But at the same time, it's something that can be addressed and can be overcome, and you don't have to sit in grief, like today, even after the boys and his daughters, one of his daughters got up and talked. Afterwards, man, we were all just sitting around, and it was almost like They were thankful that we had what we had, and now it's over, and now it's time to, just laugh about his life, celebrate his life, have some laughter, tell some things that he did. Like I said a couple of things where he got thrown out at first base by Jeremy, and we all kind of got a chuckle from that. And that's what we need to do, because we can't just sit in grief. That's what's missing today in society. We're sitting in it. We can't sit in it.
And you know what I saw different about today was that I didn't see the what ifs. Everybody accepted this fate, and without question. And I do see in other situations of grief, I see my sister. I see Chris. I see all these people. What if the situation to death? And no, don't ever do it. Don't.
Yeah.
It was written. This is the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah. It says, the word says that God ordains the number of our days, right? And so he knows. It's just how we leave the earth. And I truly believe that with all my heart. I'm not just sitting in a place where I'm ignorant about something. I've read about it. I've studied it. I've asked God about it. I've done all that.
You've experienced.
And I've experienced. And once you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah.
And we have to just say, okay. With Jeremy, I just had to go in because a lot of people may or not know, but may know or not know. But first, my mom passed on December 31st, 2008, at 10:45 in the evening. And literally within an hour and 15 minutes, it was the next year.
Wow.
And then 4 months later, Jeremy died. And we just had to go into business mode. And Julie and I we're at the hospital, we're looking at each other, and we're like, well, we got to go into business mode and take care of business. And there's time to grieve later. But I know for some people it's a little tough, harder. But the thing I can say about it is that my faith really grounds me in everything that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if I'm preaching today or not.
No, that those are good words, because I know for me, when I lost Gianluca, that was it. Game over. I was done. I what ifed it to death. I couldn't see past that moment, and it was lights out for me. And so to hear and see situations like yours, where, like Rochelle, I saw her, within a day or two go into business mode, with finances and whatnot, and I look at the strength that I didn't have. Same with Chris. Scott, I know you're doing. I know, Scott, I know you went back to work. So, those are all things you all have to look at within yourselves, because I know a lot of people look at me and say, look at how strong he is and how well he's doing. I'm a year and a half later, and I'm still struggling and couldn't do the things you guys were doing within days. So, my hat off to you guys.
Absolutely. I think it's that's something that I think we need to give out the attaboys. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Encourage people.
Yeah.
Instead of tearing people down, encourage them.
Yeah.
I'm sure that everyone could look at, even right now we're having a discussion, right? Someone could look at this and, look at these guys. Whatever. Because my feelings won't get hurt. I'm just pouring out I'm just talking.
Yeah. This
is what we do. We talk.
Yeah. And I don't think prior to the show, Jeff and I we didn't sit and actually highlight these specific points. We're just ad-libbing here
talking.
And talking.
We're just talking.
And it's working.
And I think people appreciate that, just down to earth, you know, like I said, you know, we don't not going to use a bunch of spectacular words. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not going to happen, you know. And we don't have 5 points or, you know, 5 things you can do, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to that. I don't know about that. What I do know is that what's in front of me, what I need to do to take care of it. You know, quit looking for 5 steps. Look at what's in front of you, and you know, if you have to, get counsel.
Yeah.
How to tackle this.
Yeah.
You know, we're missing all of that. We're looking to other people. We don't need to do that. Everybody has it within them to take care of business. You know, I don't need someone. I don't have to read. By the way, Dr. Spock. Do you know the Dr. Spock books for raising kids? Dr. Spock's full of crap. Dr. Spock doesn't know jack about raising kids. Have you ever read those books?
I haven't.
You know, because what everyone encounters is different. All you need to do, look at what's in front of you. I'll just tell you what I do. I look at what's in front of me, and I figure out how to take care of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, yeah. 5 kids right here. So every single one of them, unique in their own way, and had to be raised according to their personality.
Right.
There's no set formula that I could have done to equal the same result that I would have been looking for in each one. No. So
you know what? We're going to go to a break. When we get back, maybe we can throw that around.
All right.
And discuss that because, you know, I can tell you right now, Jeremy was the easiest out of my 4 to raise because the first one we messed up. Well, we'll talk about that when we come back. Be right back.
Welcome back. So,
Let's pick
picking up where we left
yeah,
off.
let's pick up where.
Each kid being unique and getting a different result in parenting the same way is, to me, I think, proof that we need to be very aware of the differences in people and work with them accordingly. You know, I could not have raised all 5 of my kids the same way for the same result. Impossible.
Yeah. Well, like I was mentioning about Jeremy, he was the easiest to raise because we made all the mistakes on the other ones.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, poor Jeffrey, man. He's
Yeah.
he's the, you know, I always tell him he's the beginning of my strength and Jeremy's the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Jeffrey, we messed up all on the first one because
Yeah,
it was
sorry,
our first
Haley.
one.
Sorry, Haley.
It was our first one, right? And then the twins came along and they did things a little quicker than Jeffrey did. And then Jeremy, man, he's just sharp as a tack.
Yeah. And I knew with Michael that I'd have to have my batteries on my police scanner fresh so that I always knew what was going on, because that's how I located him a few times.
So what has this got to do with what's missing in society? Number one, raising your kids the way you see fit. Not according to someone else.
Yeah.
You know, you can get advice,
Yeah.
but, you know, just because that one's doing that, you don't need to do that.
No, you have to adapt to their personality.
You got to adapt. And I think that's what's happening today, was where everybody's following a certain thing. You know, why? Instead of following that certain thing, you know, we all got to do what's best for each other, I mean, for ourselves individually. And then if we're in a group, what's best for the group? I mean, you got to think that way.
Yeah, and simply just being present. I mean, just simply being present in the lives of not only the kids, but people in general, you know. I'm worried that this whole mask thing and lockdown thing is going to force this antisocial behavior that just is going to be destructive. It makes me bonkers.
Well, we're made to have...
We're social creatures.
Yeah, we're social creatures. We're made to have fellowship. We're made to have, you know, hug, and, you know, you want to kiss your wife, or, you know, we're made to have that. Those things are important. And I think what's really important today, I would say, is what we saw today at the funeral. Everybody just walked up, hugged each other, and they were able to console each other.
Yeah.
That is what matters, man.
I showed up a little bit late, and I wasn't wearing a mask, and I wasn't even thinking about a mask. And I saw a lot of people in masks, and I was worried about not having a mask and didn't know what to expect. And that feeling went away in about 10 seconds.
Right. Because, you know, I'll come clean. I went there with a mask because I'm officiating. I'm going to be up in front of everybody. And as soon as I saw that the family is like, they're standing up there without masks, and the funeral directors they had their masks and they were kind of standing away from everybody. But as soon as I saw that, I felt like, you know what, I'm just going to take it off. And next thing I know, we're back at the reception.
Yeah, I'm noticing it's more and more for social acceptance than protocol. It's weird.
And over there at the reception, though, we all sat around, nothing. We're sitting this close with 3 other people right here, and one there, and one over there, and we're eating food and breaking bread, and all of this is missing from society today. Breaking bread, man. We need fellowship. We need to have it, you know. And I'll just say that, you know, before we wrap up, I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. Sitting next to you without a mask on. How about that? And you know, the way that we, you know, just fellowship together, you know, it's one of the reasons why we're sane, for goodness sake, because there's a lot of people out there having struggles with all of this. And I think everyone just needs to, well, there's this thing. We need to have compassions for both sides, from both sides.
Amen. Love that.
Yeah, we have to have compassion for both sides, from both sides. If you're a masker, have compassion for the one that isn't, and the one that isn't, have compassion for the one that is. And we were talking about getting along, trying to figure out how to, you know, and I think that in the end, I think we just have to say that what we need to do is everybody look out for each other.
Yeah.
You know, you might not know the person, you know, and if someone starts ragging on you or something about a mask or not, say thank you or I apologize. You know, I don't know how the situation, what will be needed.
I think a fun, witty comment that, in my experience, is what diffuses a tense moment. Yeah. And that's probably where I would go with it.
Yeah, I think the situation will dictate how the response will be. But if you come with the mindset that, you know, I just want to make sure that I'm not, you know, the aggressor or being the one that's, you know, not trying to think about other people. Let me just come right out and say it. You need to be the one. The word says this: as much as it depends on you, be at peace with other people. So you can only do what you can do.
Right.
So you can't be responsible for what the other person does.
Right.
So I think that's the bottom line. I don't want to, like I said, I'm not trying to use. We're not trying to be politically correct. I'm just coming right out to say it. There you go.
Yeah. And I think that right there is pretty much the moral of this show and the objective. And I think we caught it.
Yeah. Well, if there's anyone that wants to ask questions or leave comments, please do. Please do.
This was probably a pretty touchy subject, and we expect that there may be differences in opinion, and we're fine with that. Talk to us.
Yeah.
You know? Put it in the comments section and tell us what you think.
I can tell you right now, though, we're not willing to get into a contest with people. We're not.
Yeah.
That's not the reason for this. No. It's just we can discuss back and forth or whatever. And like I said, when we start going live, we can do it right on the spot. So, and I think when we do the thoughts about COVID, masking, and show, that was probably going to be one that
explodes
a little bit, but it'll explode for good. The good.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to say. Don't just be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't try to please everybody because you can't. But if you be yourself, you'll find that I think things will go a lot easier. Pretty much for your life.
Yeah. I agree. Right. Yeah.
And also, I want you to know that we are putting together a nice show, a great show. And things will be happening pretty soon, so just keep a lookout for that as well. Anything else?
No. Just want to thank you guys all for tuning in, and we're hearing a lot of good stuff off the record about the show, picking up some new sponsors and whatnot, and we're
By the
really
way,
excited. Yeah, we need to.
Why don't we thank our new sponsors?
Yeah. Luke Fattore, Black Hat 6, check him out. The guy is the shizzle, and great dude, and so excited to be working with you. So thank you.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we got some plans in the future for the show and location where it's going to be like airing from and stuff like that. And when that stuff starts to materialize and become solid and concrete, we'll let that out. But with that, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Joe.
And this is Truth Be Told. Take care.